Okay, good morning, folks, and welcome to Stock Charts Today. This is Bob Desmond, and we're going to kick things off this morning with a review of the pre-market activity using 4-hour charts, and then we're going to segue into members' stock chart requests, which is where I review the symbols that our members submit for me to review, and we have some good ones today. All right, let's kick things off with the NASDAQ. You can see that we are up on the session. However, what we need to do is draw a trend line down. And you can see that we have no breakout. This is pretty much a dead cat bounce. And if we break this lower band of support, we'll probably break to do daily lows. So, again, folks, this is what I've been saying for a few weeks now, is that we cannot go chasing these morning rallies. They spike the market in the morning only to sell it off. It's not just me speaking. This is the way the markets have been trading. Let's take a look at the S&P 500. They are up on the session, but much like the NASDAQ, it appears to be a dead cat bounce. So if we break down below this lower band of support, we'll probably see a fade of the morning rally. So again, let's not get all excited about the bright green futures. That's what CNBC wants you to do. Taking a look at the dollar. The dollar is showing some resilience this morning. We are off the highs of the session, but we're holding support. Now keep in mind, I spoke last about the dollar here when we put in this fatal double top. Then we had the jobs numbers which came out, and they were horrible. Fast forward to late in the afternoon on Friday, Jay Powell spoke, and if you read between the lines, he was not a overly excited camper on the economy due to productivity. So my guess is that Jay Powell will not be a hawk on yields in 2018. That will be bearish for the U.S. dollar. Taking a look at gold. Gold is down on the session. Down $5 on the June contract. So as we know, as goes the dollar, inversely goes gold. So I wouldn't be a buyer of gold right now. Let's get to members' stock chart request. The first chart up is Alcoa Aluminum, weekly chart, triangle formation. We broke out last week. I mean, my members are pretty smart, and they gave us some really good stocks to review this morning. We have a RSI, which is hooking up. Volume was below average last week, but rose over the prior week. Double bottom setup and rising ultimate oscillator. Stokes is still a little bit weak here. So what I'd be looking for, daily chart, what I'd be looking for is a pullback and a retest of the breakout point. And let's call it $46 per share to $46.50. We closed at $48 per share, so not a huge move. And I think on that pullback, the shares can be bought. Now, what if they show strength? I would buy on a close above $49 per share. Now, why am I being a little bit ambivalent since we broke out on the week? The reason is that we had 2 consecutive days of topping action, as noted by the topping tails on these candlesticks. That's a sign of sellers moving in and selling strength. So in a market like this, I want to buy a breakout or I want to buy the pullback to a support level. It's as easy as that. Volume rose into the back half of the week last week, so Alcoa is looking promising. CRSP, we had a couple of weeks of bottoming action. So would I be a buyer here on that observation? No, not yet. We're still getting lower highs and lower lows on ultimate oscillator. I wouldn't go shorting these shares. Daily chart. Now, what concerns me about the daily chart is that the shares tried to rally off of a support level on Friday. That rally failed. We saw a reversal day. So when do you buy the shares? You buy them on a pullback to $40.54, and ideally we flash a bullish key reversal, meaning we overshoot to the downside and then we reverse on that day to close positive. Or we rally and we close above the highs of Friday above $48 per share. The high of Friday was $49.32. I don't think you need to wait for a close above that level. A close above $48 per share would allow me to say, you know what, okay, I think we're good here to scratch the itch, put on a small position, and then wait to add on a breakout and a close above this upper band of resistance in blue dotted line. That would be my play. Volume on Friday was outstanding, but remember, a lot of it was selling. TCP Partners, very interesting. And we are nearing a support level at which I would be very excited to add aggressively to my position. Now, members, we're going to talk more about this one in the forum later on today. Weekly chart. I'm liking the $30 per share level. Watch for a new weekly low. I don't see any reason to go rushing in right now to go buying the shares aggressively, but soon. Daily chart, loving RSI at 14.62. We have a double bottom setup, and now we have rising Stokes on TCP. Bottoming action on Friday, but we know from prior history that we could still go lower even though we have bottoming action. Volume rose on Friday, so just be careful. I still think that we have lower lows to go here, and then we will execute a trade on TCP. Charlie, you had asked for EYES and FAZ. I went over those yesterday on the week ahead commentary, so go check that out, please. Cabium Learning, ABCD, I love the symbol. Weekly chart, a beautiful base here, which it broke out of several months ago, and it's been in fuego ever since. And the rally has come on big volume. The problem is that last week, we saw some sellers move in also on big volume. So it looks as though the initial short covering rally out of this base may be coming to an end. That doesn't mean that we can't buy the pullback. Daily chart. So you can see here on RSI we have lower highs. We're rolling over on Stokes. It doesn't mean the shares are going to collapse. It just means that they are due for a rest. They've had a big run. So I like the 1050 level. If that breaks, I think the shares could trade all the way down to $9.75 to $9 per share. Take note of your Stoke RSI. Choppy price action, lower highs and lower lows. Not good. MACD, we have lower highs getting put in. I would be careful here in the short term. Longer term, we should have a pause that refreshes and a resumption of the uptrend, especially if this market can catch a bid. The next chart up, DQ, Daqo New Energy Corp. We broke out last week on RSI. We have rising Stokes. We're looking for a rollover here. And when I say a rollover, it doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. It means that I'm looking for a rollover in a double bottom setup like you had back here, like you had back here, and then a breakout. So would I go buying these shares right now? No. I would look for that pullback on price. Or if we don't get it, let's just say we're going to get a V-shaped recovery here on Stokes, well then I'd be a buyer on a close above this upper band of resistance at, let's call it, $60 per share. Volume has been coming in really strong on both the downside and the upside. So we're seeing some institutional demand. Daily chart. Daily chart, we broke out last week, last Wednesday to be specific. We flashed a bearish key reversal on Friday and on Thursday. And then on Friday, we retested the breakout point and flashed a bullish key reversal. So if you're good at putting in your stop and you're going to stand by it, I think you're okay with buying these shares. As long as you put a stop in just below 52.60 on a closing basis. Meaning, if we appear poised to close back down in this trading range, you need to be out of the shares because that would be a breakout point failure. And you could add to your position on a continuation breakout through 57.17. So the daily chart is looking good. Volume was strong on Friday. Good setup here for a short-term swing trade. And if I didn't mention, we have a breakout on RSI and rising Stokes as well. Higher highs, higher lows, all good stuff. Rapid7 Inc., RPD, a bullish reversal week last week, but we closed off the highs of the week. So this chart is sending us signals. What it's telling us is that every time we rally, we have sellers between where we closed on Friday and 28.18. So for me to buy this stock, it must either A, retest 23 or preferably rally up and through this upper band of resistance at, let's call it, $27 per share. Now, our Stokes appear poised to hook back up, as does RSI. So the chart looks promising. I just wouldn't hope when I should fear. I would wait for that breakout or a pullback. Volume last week was a bit weak. Let's go to the daily chart, see how we're setting up for today. Yeah, so we rallied on the back half of the week last week. We stalled out at resistance. We have a bull flag formation. This is a continuation breakout pattern forming here. I like the chart. I can't buy it yet. Wait for a close above $27 per share or a pullback and a retest of prior support. And that's it for this morning, folks. Everybody have a profitable trading day. Members, I will talk to you this evening on Market Wrap, where we'll recap the day's events, and I'll be in the forum as well. Talk to you later. Be well.